Hello, welcome to Elemental Hypertech and the world's first time travel game. Today, I'd like to talk about villains. The Elemental Hypertech School does have a villains program, and the only way that you can participate within that program is by invitation. But to give you an idea, I performed several experiments over the course of 3 years. The first was the Trinity experiment, the element of air, your mind, intellect, and reason. We explored this, and our discovery ended in wealth. We discovered more wealth than many people in many lifetimes could spend. The purpose of that experiment was to gather evidence to show that we do have a competitor to war, and we called it Renaissance. So the Trinity experiment was an exploration of Renaissance. This has brought a tremendous amount of abundance for us during these trying times, those who are players, members, and students. And to confess, my job was to look for the diamonds over the course of the past 3 years and invite the worthy into the world's first time travel game. So, to quickly summarize, over the past 3 years, what was accomplished was, first, a book was written. This book was finished in 2016. The next phase was to turn that book into a timepiece, a cadence to display the cycles of time. Once that was accomplished through the experimental process, where we performed 4 major experiments publicly for the world to verify with evidence and compassion, to find the gems, like, what is my role? My role was to find the diamonds on this timeline. And if you received an invitation from me, congratulations. There weren't very many, and many more didn't even respond. More still responded, but refused. It is because of the nature of what you are participating within. So I am grateful to each and every one of you, because the idea was to build the experiments with a trinity called stealth, invisibility, and novelty. And this plays a critical role in the key to understanding the villain. And this is why it is by invitation only that I will teach you these skills. The information that I share, it's not about me. So it has been my hope that you don't know very much about me, per se, besides the little tidbits here and there that I share with you. Because I don't want you to think about this information about the person giving it. I just want you to consider the information. And if you don't like hearing it from me, don't worry. The way the game was built in Elemental Hypertech is it has been structured in a way, in time. Because we are the first does not mean we are the last. And there are many, many great and powerful, influential people who have heard this information on some level and who are already beginning to share it with others. And these people are highly influential. When I say the villains build in stealth, invisibility, and novelty, I give you a message of hope and assurance on some level. Is that because that trinity is built, there is another trinity that frustrates it, that is also built. And that is built within the private experiment. You see, over the course of those 3 years, the first experiment was the Trinity experiment, which is the element of the mind, the element of air, combining those two, intellect and reason. If you are a player in the time travel game, we build this with the past. What we discovered, what happened at the end, which closed the Trinity experiment, how we were successful in proving these systems is our goal was to work within war and Renaissance. And what we discovered was more wealth, was an abundance so rich that even war could not compete. And that is what we built, competition. The second experiment was not about wealth like the first. It was about health. It was called the lash factor. It is the gut. It is the future. And it is the element of water. It is our inner world. It is the mother, where the mind is our father. So, we explored depth, solidity, strength, magnetism, experience. We explored each and every one of these concepts because we are not looking for force like we were in the Trinity experiment, like a Jedi. No, we were looking for power because we want to create energy, motion. There's a creative process that is introduced when we find our future self through our gut, through symbolism, through our intuition and feelings. So we explored that in great detail. And we came up at the end of that experiment publicly with the abundance of resources and many, many other things that become personal because it is our inner world. Then we did the echo experiment. By the way, are these words becoming more and more relevant to you as time goes by? Are you building more and more relationships with these type of concepts like novelty, like stealth, okay, like echo? How about time travel? When we were performing these experiments, I was writing a second book. The first book is called Quest Me Book, Soul How You. And it was written prior to going public on the channel for the second time. The first time I went public was in 2007 on Project Avalon. And I was teaching people remote viewing. And some corporate bigwig types, I think, they thought they were cute. And they said, okay, well, remote view this particular day in the future. And I did. And I told them that was the day that the markets were going to collapse and they were going to think that everybody was going to go into all-out economic meltdown. And sure enough, that happened on that day. Gave me a reputation in the corporate field for the real players of the world, people who recognize skill and talent in the realms that they want to conquer so badly. So this is the second time through the channel to get back into the topic of discussion here is the echo experiment. With the echo experiment, we explored the ever-present now, the moment. We call it a present because it is a gift. Every moment that you have is a gift. Every second. What are you going to do with it? What do you do with it? Right now, in time, it's important because if you look at the channel, the echo experiment talked a lot about the pause. Because when you talk about the echo, you're talking about one side and the other. It's like breathing. But people forget breathing is not a duality. Breathing is a trinity. And that trinity's third component is called the pause, or the return. Or if you're feeling clever and fun, the boomerang. That moment in which it returns, there is a pause. Right now in time, this is a critical moment. Today is the first part of April in the Gregorian calendar of 2020. But if you are an elemental hypertech student, a player in the world's first time travel game, or a member, then who gets all the private information, if you remember, then you know what day it is because we use a different calendar. The calendar we use for the game is called an Enochian calendar. And I produce that for the students, members, and players. We are in the 7th year of the Enochian calendar, which a lot of other people out there may be confusing that with year 0, which is fine. Let those people believe it's year 0, but it's actually year 7. And on the 7th day, we know that there is rest. Hence, evidence of pause. So again, we are dealing with a completely different format when you're an elemental hypertech student or a time travel game player. You are working with different rules, which is why I spend so much time with you to train you and teach you how to fine-tune your own personal skills and talents with alternative filters. That's a good way to put it. Okay? So the echo experiment was the heart, was the element of fire, your will and desire, where your gut is your feelings and your emotions, and again, your mind is your intellect and your reason. And then the 4th experiment was called the private experiment. And this is your body, the element of earth. We explored Tantra, your style, your grace, your glory. Collectively, we've added these together for the 5th experiment. The 5th experiment is actually the time travel game. However, we have closed the 5th experiment because we were able to discover exactly what we were looking for very quickly. That was very curious to me within the game, but I guess that's what we learned about time travel. With time travel, you get it immediately. You get it in the ever-present now. So when you're looking for something, it immediately comes to you. So now we are working with that type of technology. What do we do with it? So we have created an ambassador program, a recruitment program. And that program is designed to collect these things that we receive that we would like to give to others. Like, it's so abundant, it's charity. And that's where I want to leave it today for all of you who are participating in this pause, is we are learning in the Elemental Hypertech School about charity. And the Villains program within the private experiment is also being taught next to charity. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I really do appreciate every one of you and your support. The members, thank you. The players, good luck. And the students, fine-tune